All right, hello and welcome back to Two Broken Thumbs. We are here during the spooky month to review something spooky.
It's true, we are. We're here. We're live. Well, not live.
Well, we're
We
live
are
to
here.
ourselves.
Yeah,
Haha.
we're live where we're at, yes, but not you guys. And I know the first spooky movie we talked about this month was Mulan 2020, which was an absolute shit show.
Yeah,
Um,
that was less of a thriller and more like a nightmare, I guess.
yeah, yes,
I
absolutely.
I
That was a
rewatched
psychological horror.
absolutely. I rewatched the original Mulan since then, and I gotta say, there was a lot of stuff I did not remember, apparently. The movie is
Hmm.
way better than I remember it being.
Absolutely.
Hmm. Did
So,
not need a did not need a remake of that.
you're crazy. That's crazy talk.
Mhm. Just I
But we're
remember.
not here to talk about bad things. We're not here to talk about bad things.
Oh, we're
As a
not?
matter of
Okay.
fact, we were going to talk about something bad. We were originally going to talk about the Slenderman movie that came out last year.
Yeah. We were
Um,
trying to come up with
that was
something spooky to watch, and
yeah.
I was trying to decide if I wanted to watch something good that's spooky or something bad. And
Mm.
I was like, what about Slenderman? Because we watched that
Um,
when it came out, and it has since then
yeah.
been blocked from my memory.
I remember how it ended, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And also that they used the ring system, where by the way, you have to you watch a video now to summon Slenderman. When you never summoned Slenderman, he was just always there.
Yeah, that was I'm not well caught up on the Slenderman lore or mythos,
He isn't
but I
you don't summon Slenderman.
I
He just
wasn't
kind of appears
yeah, that was the
as
impression
an
I had.
entity. Yeah. So, but instead, because I mentioned to James saying there is a YouTube series I watched when I was in high school, I believe, um, about the Slenderman or a form of the Slenderman. I said I was going to compare that a lot to the Slenderman movie, and then I thought to myself, actually, you know what? Let's just talk about that instead.
Yeah, he
let, let,
tells me there's a YouTube series and I'm in my head I'm like, "Oh, okay, so some kids with some video cameras. All right, maybe that'll be interesting." Ah,
or funny.
yeah. Shockingly better than expected, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say underrated. But let's talk about what it's actually called first. So it's called Marble Hornets. I don't know if anyone here has heard of that. If not, you pause this now and go watch it.
Yeah, from what I understand, just like reading a bit about it, the series itself has like a ton of views, especially the first season. So,
Yeah,
and but then again, I haven't heard of it, so
it only broke like most of the videos only broke nearly like 500,000 views, which I definitely think needs to be higher, in my opinion. I wouldn't call it like cult, but I would call it small. If that makes sense.
right.
Hmm.
Well, I'm gonna give me a
Yeah,
moment here. It says average YouTube views is 1.5 million for the first season. Is that true? Is that like for the whole season? That can't be right.
I think what they do is they just do averages. They add all the numbers and then like divide it by however many numbers they use, just like with any other average statistic. Plus, don't forget the earlier season one had a lot of shorter clips too.
Oh, no, I think this is correct. The introduction has like 5 million views.
Yeah,
Entry 10 has 2 million.
yeah,
As with any YouTube series, it drops off heavily.
absolutely.
Okay,
People
it looks like
lose
it's right
interest
though.
in them.
The average
Yeah,
for the first season would be 1.5 million. The average for the third season is only like 300,000, which mm,
going by the length of the last few episodes, I guess makes sense.
yeah, I suppose.
The
Um,
lengths get longer and longer as the
we
series goes on and on.
as we review most of our movies, we just
Mm.
finished this, so I'm still trying to kind of
Process everything.
piece a bit of it together. I feel like
Hmm.
I was losing the plot in the third season a bit.
Well, so here's the thing, and I will discuss this because I feel like this is important to say. This wasn't all planned out. At least the third season wasn't.
Yeah.
They knew they wanted to do a second season, but they didn't realize how big of a impact it was making, so they decided to do one more season. So I will agree the third season is not nearly as strong as the second one or the first one, but I do think it still ended super well. It had a good ending. Like, they had an end goal, they were just not sure how they wanted to get to that end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is, better than most things nowadays. They just keep going and going, and then they go, we can't let it ever end, so we're
Guess
just gonna keep it going. Yeah.
we're done. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so with
Yeah.
TV shows, especially if whenever they go past, I think like
Yeah.
5 seasons is the commonly said thing.
I'm not gonna drop any names, but Steven Universe knows who they are. So
Yeah, so I've heard.
yeah. So but anyways, we're here to talk about good things. So we will be discussing this in a very strange way. We're going to try to go by season, and then focus more on the way it was filmed more than the story itself, because the real the real thing that makes this interesting is how it is shot and how it's played out. In my opinion, that's what's interesting about this as a thing to discuss as a film.
I agree. It's sort of the idea because it's fan footage, right? Like,
Mm, like Blair Witch Project or
yeah.
VHS and all that.
So it's, you know, in a movie, you're supposed to be like almost omniscient because the movie is communicating to you everything that you need to know. Whereas in this, we're all aware that we are only getting some of the information.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I was going to say with movies, and too, hold on, I'm about to on. The other thing I was going to say with movies is that oh my god, my body, Jesus. All right, I think it's good. I think I'm good.
All
Let me
right.
finish my statement now. The thing with movies is that, well, with most horror movies, a lot of the emphasis is put on sound, so we know as the audience if something's a good idea or not based just on the music that is playing, and we are detached from the character because we know more than the character does.
Right.
That's not always the case. Sometimes we know as little as the main character, and those times it does feel as trapping as it does in most films. But the one thing that I remember, what I want to bring up is that in any good horror movie, they always have that moment where they sit down and talk about what makes this creature weak or what makes this creature like powerless, and then it becomes less scary because you know how to defeat it. But in this movie, they never outright tell you how to, and they never really do, I guess, in a sense, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
mm,
yeah.
I don't think so. I recently watched it for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
the new one,
Yeah.
and I want to say like before they explained to the audience, I had figured out, oh, this thing doesn't like it when you're in a group,
Yeah.
so they need to
You go in
stick
groups.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they only like figured it out a little bit later. But
But they're also kids, so you can forgive it because they're stupid.
well, I'm not like that's not really the point I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah, yeah.
make. The
No, I get what you're saying.
what I'm trying to say is like in this movie, I don't know. It's still kind of up in the air because
Of
like the operator still attacks even when they're together. Well,
yeah.
if attack is the word you want to use.
We probably should explain the operator, and also probably should explain the what's going on.
Sure.
Might
So
might be a good idea. For those
yeah,
of you who didn't go immediately watch it,
it's kind of spooky.
yeah,
Like for like I'm a bit of a child, so scary movies scare me pretty easily. But I wake up at like 2 a.m. to go to work because I'm a baker, and so on my
mm.
way out every day, I'm like, thinking about this movie Cole's making me watch. It's a little scary out here in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I didn't realize that when we were watching this. When we first got like the first few episodes, like, and we see the operator, like no music cue, no jump scare sound, no like heavy influence or like showing him for a long period of time. They just like he's just there and then they move on. The entire time, Jim's just like,
Yeah, it's
It was disturbing, unsettling, even.
right, and it a lot of it takes advantage of the fact that
It's on VHS or it's
right.
on a yeah
Well, it's on tapes, and like the tapes
tapes.
are
Yeah,
buggy, and maybe I should save this for
Yeah, we should probably
Yeah.
explain. Like I said,
Okay. So
So
let's
I'll take the rein on this one.
yeah, I guess try to do
Um,
like a spoiler-free kind of concept
yeah.
explanation, and then after that we'll
So
just introduce spoilers because
yeah.
there's a lot to go over here.
So we have a small cast of characters, but I'll only be going over a few for the non-spoiler stuff.
Okay.
We have our main character, or the person who's running the channel, named Jay Merrick. Jay is a friend of Alex's, who I'm probably sure of Alex. Alex wanted to make a college film called Marble Hornets. It's terrible. It's stupid. It's the most like independent schlock you can think of for like a college, just like a college kid would make about moving back home and realizing everything's changed and yada yada yada. Just basic college kid stuff. However, everything really goes off the rails like almost immediately when a certain creature by the name of the Operator starts appearing to Alex and some of the other members of the crew. Alex decides to cancel the whole project and just wants it out of his life, and is going to burn the tapes that held anything related to the show. And Jay said, "Well, that's a waste. I would like some of that footage." And so now Jay has a good portion of the footage of the Marble Hornets casting. So now the whole idea of the channel is to update people, or to have like a log of what's going on with the show, and Jay discovering, what all is happening, what happened to Alex, and where he is now.
Right. We kind of get
Is
an
was that good? I think that's pretty solid.
yeah, that seems pretty solid to me.
Yeah.
We were given like an introduction from Jay's perspective, or it's just text on a screen, but he kind of
Mm-hmm.
explains everything that you just said. And Alex was apparently getting like really irritable as time went on until like I think they said overall it was like a 3-month process, and at the end he was just like unbearable to work with
Yeah. He became more and
and
more agitated. He
like paranoid
was
too.
paranoid too. Yeah. A lot of times he just didn't want to. He just was not interested in shooting for long periods of time,
Yeah, and he
and
always
had
had his
cameras on at all
camera
times. Yeah,
and
always
like
had a camera on.
tons of tapes, like bags of them.
Mm-hmm. So I
Um,
think. Do you want to talk about season 1 first, then, and go from there?
yeah, that'd probably be best.
All right.
So season 1 is the first 44 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is including the To the Arc episodes
It
too.
they are, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
hmm,
We'll get to who the arc is later when we get to that point.
right. So it opens with like we said, Jay's explaining how he got the tapes, and Alex never wants Jay to mention them again, and Alex moves away. But Jay recently found the tapes. I guess some time has passed by, and so he
Mm-hmm.
starts looking through them, and he it's like going through nothing weird or unusual, nothing interesting. And then he finds one that is missing audio that was not taken at the set, but it was at Alex's house instead. And
Mm-hmm.
as he's filming, there's just like some screen tear, and then he looks outside in the middle of the night, and you can see the operator, and then like I guess Alex probably does too, and then he like turns and runs away, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's when the clip ends. Uh,
So the operator, by the way, is what they call the Slenderman. It's technically not the Slenderman, but it is like
well,
the
clear
way that
inspiration.
the way that their character works is very different than how actual Slenderman work, or
Hmm,
slightly different than how actual
actual
Slenderman works.
Slenderman.
What the one that people have come to know, like,
Yeah, I know.
he has the pages, he like fizzles your viewpoint and you can't see, and then he like takes you away and like puts you in a tree or some shit like that. This one doesn't really do that. This one's more like just like an entity that I guess I'm gonna sound like a weeb for saying this, but there's the god of death in Death Note. Like, he can't interact with the real world, but he can give people the tools to kill. like that sort of deal,
I guess.
like another
Well,
entity, basically.
he can still do his, ports, but
Yeah, but that's about all he can do. He can't actually physically harm someone.
well, even then,
So
he's like people cough when he's around, and
that's a side effect of just his presence, I believe.
okay. And he
Yeah.
also like he gave the one dude a super headache when he tried, or Tim when he tried to encounter him. We just saw that
Well,
today. So
that's further on. That's a little
right,
spoiler stuff. Yeah.
gotcha.
So
So let's see.
a lot of the first season is just the first few tapes, and as time goes on, he discovers more and more, and discovers, or at me, not he, sorry, Jay, I believe. Hold on a second, gentlemen. There's a
Well,
lot of information here, so I'm trying to like piece it all together slowly.
right, it's this is like a 5+ hour series that
Yeah, we're trying to
we're
condense
gonna
it to
try
an
to
hour.
summarize. So essentially, as time goes on, like as the
Mhm,
entries go on, Jay is explaining that like a lot of the tapes don't actually have anything to do with the movie, and like
mhm.
Alex just seems to be recording himself practically nonstop.
Yeah, it's no longer about Marble Hornets, but rather just him feeling safe.
Right?
Um, but the one thing I was going to say was we get introduced as time goes on to more and more characters. Um, One of them we get to meet throughout the thing is Tim, who plays an important role. Tim Wright and Sarah, and Seth. We get to meet these people from a few episodes of Marble Hornets we saw being recorded. And during these recordings, we saw that Jay was getting more irritable, or not Jay, Alex getting irritable, more pissed off, and more just angry and angry and angry.
Yeah, because they're yeah, not acting the way he wants them to in while they're
Mm-hmm.
shooting, and he's like really
Well,
frustrated about it.
they're not even just like that. Like they don't have any acting experience either, so he's just being a dick.
Right now,
Um,
absolutely. And
t- t-
I want to appreciate this because I don't know the the concept of this was explained kind of poorly to me at first, so I thought that like some of these videos were real, and that after a few entries, I was like, oh, I see what's happening here. So we have in this movie they're recording or they're making another movie. So you got like movieception going on. And I gotta say the actors for the most part do really well at like appearing as bad actors while they're filming for the movie, but
yeah,
then
they're very good
much
at
better
yeah.
when it's
The
what's supposed to be real in the movie but is still a movie to us.
I was gonna say one of the things that I like a lot is that they don't. Well, most of the time, what they do whenever they see something, they don't just stand there like people do in movies and just go, "Oh my god!" They fucking book it in another direction. They don't stand there. They don't like scream in place. They just book it.
Yeah,
Like they don't know where they're going. They don't know how they're going. But their first instinct
doesn't
is to
matter.
just
Go
flee. Yeah,
get
they're just
out.
like we are flee. Yeah. Um, and a lot of times, a lot. The other thing that's really important is that um, as time goes on, our characters get smarter too. Um, Jay is having this channel set up so he can leave notes for himself or leave information so people can discover it with him. But as he does this, there's another channel that comes out called To the Ark, who's almost taunting him with information because they have information that he doesn't have.
Yeah,
And eventually, it leads to the point where now Jay is now in the later seasons he's like on the run and he's trying to get away from people following him. And it, as time goes on, he learns, okay, I can't just keep videotaping every little thing I do because they're going to know where I'm at.
yeah. And that's when
And
it
it's
starts getting like really not confusing, but like as time goes on, you're starting to kind of doubt your narrator a bit more and more.
mm-hmm. It's very like the way that this, fuck going through each season. We're just going to talk about it as a whole. Forget it, forget it.
All right.
It's going to be way easier. We're
Well,
just gonna
for what it's worth,
Hmm.
That first season is
Not filler, but it builds up things.
no, it's very good. I like it the
Hmm.
best. I think it's like I want to say less plot focused and more like it's
Just like
establishing
actual
everything.
found
And
footage most. Yeah.
yeah, and it's pretty scary. Like
Yeah.
I don't know,
There's no
they
sound cues. There's no like any of that BS. It's just scary.
mhm. They do really well with it, I'd say. So I'm reading the last episode right now because I want to kind of like just give a
Of season
conclusion for
one, you
the
mean?
first season. Yeah, and then
I got it right here. So Jay, on, let's see. So Al or Jay, so yeah, Jay. Jay finds out that Alex has been stalking him. Um, and that's when he decides he starts need to move. There's a house they go to very often in the first season that has a lot of weird stuff going on, little secrets, and sometimes they will go into the house, or Jay will go into the house, and then he'll like during the day, and then he'll open a door, and then it's nighttime, and he'll be teleported to a different room. And it just want to say it's really well done for editing and for how it's like cut. It looks very naturalistic. Um, and it ends with Jay finding a tape at like a red tower, which is one of the sites for the Marble Hornets that they're going to use.
mhm.
Um,
Also a
then
reference to
Alex,
Slenderman, right?
what's that? Yeah, that is also a reference to the Slenderman games. There's a giant red tower that is in the original game, as well as there's also a cone, but that's later on. Um, oh yeah, but no, this is where Alex, the red tower. Okay, so Jay went to visit the red tower, which is a location. Um, he finds a tape where Alex confronts the operator. And he leaves Seth, which is one of the camera crew members in the building where they met the operator, and then Alex claims that everyone in the cast and crew from Marble Hornets is gone, even though, as we established, Jay's still kicking.
Right.
Um, and then To the Arc, which is the other YouTube channel, shows that they are recording Jay leave, and the season ends with Jay's apartment being burnt to the ground. So with no way of getting the way of returning back to his house. And then before all that, Alex, there's one last tape where Alex and his girlfriend are attacked by the operator, and that's the last we see of Alex for a long period of time in this series. Um, and so now the story becomes no longer what was Alex doing, but where is Alex? And that's season one.
Yeah. Um
Do you want to talk about any strengths that season one had over the other two, or talk about what you liked more about it? Now you said that it was setting the groundwork, but I wasn't sure if there's more to it than just that.
I guess hmm, I feel like it gets quite a bit done, especially considering it's a lot shorter than the other two seasons.
That is true,
And
and all the videos are not nearly as long.
yeah,
There are
and
like little. I think the longest is like 5 minutes.
right. And I think overall it does pretty good at like not showing you too much. So like
Hmm.
the example I'd always give is like Alien, the first one. When
Hmm.
they're making it, they it wasn't really well funded. So
Right.
they couldn't and that was a long time ago. So it would have been difficult to make an alien that like looks really good. So
Correct.
then mostly because of their funding, a lot of it was shot in like darkness where like you couldn't really see what was going on and like you never really see the alien until the end. But that I'd say is very much to their advantage because if you can't really tell what you're looking at, like your mind starts to invent things for you.
You start to think it could be anywhere at any time.
Right. And I think
Like
that
any moment, it could
works
pop
a
out.
lot better for like that like I don't want to say jump scares, but like that bit of terror mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like when I watched it, within like the first 10 minutes of the movie, you spend like a solid 3 minutes with it, Pennywise. So
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the time, it's like it's more the
Pennywise feels
anticipation of
almost
what's he
human.
gonna
Like,
do. Yeah,
yeah, he feels almost human. Like, which is a kind of a weakness for most horror movie icons. That as time goes on, they become more human and more real and more like something that actually exists in our world. Like not Freddy, but what's the one from Halloween?
oh
Jason, is that right?
no,
No,
Michael
Jason
Myers.
Voorhees is Michael Myers. Michael Myers at the start was just some dude. He didn't have any real personality to him or anything to him. But as time went on, he became more and more human with more fleshed out personality. More than just he's a killer. He's a kid who just never grew up and thinks killing is the only way. But in this one, we never really learn about the operator and like why he's doing this or what he's doing. But we learn from the operator how the other characters react and how and what they are doing.
Right. And also,
Mm-hmm.
like the advantage with it is that the story's really well written. So even though
Mm-hmm.
like the character isn't like terrifying on sight, it's still like a well written story with him being like very clearly defined and like terrifying in his own right. So that like I don't want to say it saves it, but it's like the other way to
It's
do horror essentially.
make the story terrifying.
Yeah, which the story is very well written, so it works out well. But
Agreed.
in this, like yeah, when you see him or the operator, you barely see him. He's in the distance, and if he is
It's
close
always a
by, you're
tease.
getting visual distortions, so you can't really tell what's going on.
The visual distortions allow for uncertainty because he's there. You just don't know what the people in the situation are going to do because of it.
Hmm.
And
I think.
even sometimes when yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, and sometimes even when we do see him, like in entry 7 was a great example because we were watching entry. I'm like going through and remembering like certain moments on entry 7. It's just an interview. Like it's just someone having an interview or a test recording in a car for one of the scenes in Marble Hornets. But I'm gonna go through it. I think about like the 1 minute and 25-second mark. No one is behind the person that they're recording. I don't remember who it is, but he's just like another person on the crew, and he leans back, and at that exact moment, if you just like look at him, you don't see anything, but if you look slightly over, you just see the operator is just there. We see him, but you don't realize he's there on the first viewing until you realize that someone's panicking. And on top of that, to let you know that someone was there at the end of the clip, they say that someone was following Alex. So now you're like, what do you mean? What did I get from that? And you can go back and see it again. That's another thing this video series does really well. They go back and let you know of what looks familiar from other entries.
Yeah, I think that's really nice, especially since it's like such a long video series,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Does
yeah, I don't think I'm great at like picking up on all the small details, but it is helpful because I'll be like, oh, the swing set in a park, didn't we see that before? And then at the end of the video, it like plays both videos side by side, and it's like this looks a lot like the park from this century, and I'm like, oh, okay, good, all right, that's helpful.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say that's really really important as for just how many clips and entries there are. Every location is like memorable. Like you spend a good portion of time in that first house, and every time you go back there, it's about the same, except for one time when you go back when they go back to see there's a house where he keeps telling to go to. Every time he goes to it, he learns more and more information for season 1. And as he goes back in one time, the entire place is destroyed. There's garbage everywhere. It just looks like it's just been ransacked. But we only feel the emphasis of that just because we've been there so many times and it's so memorable. Like that place is familiar. Rosswood Park, which is a very important location later on, becomes very memorable to us. The hotel, each area is not interesting, but it's unique enough to remember it.
Right,
Like,
and we're
does that
looking.
make sense?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree with you. We're looking at like I think 133 episodes total. Like that includes the to the arc, but between all of them, I don't know. How many locations would you say we have? Like maybe 15?
I would say 15 to 20 locations. There's
Yeah.
some that are used once, but then never used again. But yeah, I would say about 15 to 20 locations. But
Yeah.
like
A lot of
by
them get
entry
used.
86, we get to go to nearly every single one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
Um
as time goes on, we get to there's more and more and more. And just like with more locations, each character is recognizable too. They something that you don't notice until you really think about it. They almost always have a certain outfit they wear. The characters do at least. Um, so
yeah.
that way it's easy to recognize who is who because later on there's other people recording, which would go into season 2. I don't know if you want to jump into that and talk about that yet, but um, as time goes on, the characters are wearing very similar clothing, so it's easy to recognize who is who.
Yeah. Um let's see. There was a couple other things I wanted to mention about season 1 before we moved on. Let me think real quick.
Okay.
I think hmm,
Yes.
I'm trying to think about what I want
Yes.
to tackle first. So, a few of these clips are like genuinely terrifying. The one that comes to mind is I can't remember which entry it was, but it's like Alex, he's recording himself while he's sleeping, and then he
Hmm.
gets up
Oh yeah.
and he like goes to like multiple windows and looks outside and you don't see anything. And then he goes back in his to his room and lays down in his bed, and then like his bedroom door was still open and there's a light on in the hallway, and then you see like something walk past his bedroom door, and like the papers on his wall like move as if like a breeze has gently moved them. That one's like actually terrifying.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Oh, I was going to grab entry 19 if that's the one you're talking about, where he's like laying in bed and then disappears for like hours.
entry 19.
Entry 19 is just the one where Hoodie is watching him as he sleeps.
Oh, that one's pretty scary too.
Yeah, I think there's something else to that one too. Oh, is it? Oh no, entry 19.5 I believe is the one. No, wait, that's
There's the one where so we probably mentioned before, but the operator has like some abilities, and
hmm
there everything is pretty well set up. I'd say overall, like everything kind of gets hinted at before it's really exposed.
hmm
Um, so in one of the early entries, and this is when we first like start to have doubts about how reliable Jay is. He's
right.
um he's like in his room. He gets up and he's got cameras all over his apartment, and he
That's what I'm
walks,
talking about. Yeah,
yeah, to the door to leave his bedroom, and then it switches to the camera in his like living room, but he doesn't show up, and he says I'm not seen anywhere for the next 3 hours, and then he just appears back by the door of his bedroom and walks back and gets into his bed and falls asleep.
not even appears. He walks through his door.
Right.
Like
But
he
the
enters his house.
but the living room camera doesn't pick
Show
up
him enter.
him
Yeah,
walking through the living room or walking to the door that leads to his bedroom.
yeah. It's just suddenly he's just there now.
Hmm.
Um, which we learn later on because of this. We learn about that one of the things the operator can do is teleport people around, and we even see that more often at the finale of this one where not the finale. Which one? He goes back to the house. Yeah, entry 23. He goes back into the house, and he keeps getting teleported around, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there's a single like uh, doll that's pointing him a certain way, and every time he goes a different way, he gets teleported back to force him to go that way.
Yeah, that one is also pretty scary because he enters the house during the daytime. It's Brian's house,
Yeah,
which he's been there a few times, and like he's looking around, and he sees the masked figure and he chases him, but then he tries to enter a room, but like I don't remember exactly how it went. I think he tries to enter the hallway from a room, but then when he walks through the door, he's back in a different room,
Mm-hmm.
and it suddenly turns to night too. So,
Yeah,
I wonder, maybe you have an answer for me? Because this
of
happens a
course.
few times where it's daytime and then suddenly it's nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, because surely it's not just night for them, it's night everywhere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that they like lose consciousness and then just like kind of wake up where they left off?
I don't think
Or
that's what it is. I think it's literally the operator is literally just making them like disappear out of existence for a few hours. Because we've seen him do that before. We've seen him move people from one time period to another, or one set of time to another set of time.
gotcha?
We don't see him use it often, um, but we do later on, which I guess I could get. We should say spoiler because this will be spoiling. Well, no, I'm talking about what the abilities the operator can do. The operator is shown to, if there's ever a corpse or anything or anyone that dies, he teleports them to like a dark, just empty void. Um, and I'm not saying that's what he does, but I'm saying that he does have the ability to just teleport you to random points of time and space. That's just what he can do. One of his
Yeah,
many abilities.
I think that seems to be the only thing that makes sense because we know he can like teleport people and objects, but yeah, it's just a bit strange that because obviously, like I said, it's daytime and then snap, it's nighttime. So it's like obviously he didn't like just make it nighttime in a small area, and obviously it's nighttime for everyone else in the world. But I'm sure
Yeah.
not
No,
everyone in
no.
the world blanked for those hours. So
He only seems to affect the people that one person interacted with. That's, you know, we'll get to who that person is. But the point being is
right,
that as time only changed because they only changed for them. So
yeah,
I think, yeah, I hope that answers your question. But what we're trying to get at is the
that
first season is
I guess
very
that's the
good at
best.
setting up things that we then learn later on, and are told later. I believe even the pills are mentioned early on too in the season.
Yeah, when he goes to
Yeah.
Brian's house, he finds the bullet casing and some pills.
Also, I think it's entry 20. I believe we see Jim. Jim is one of the, or Tim was one of the important characters later on. Um, we see Tim comes late. Is it Tim? Yeah, Tim comes late and he's having a coughing fit and takes a pill, which we don't really know what. We just assume that he might be feeling a little sick, and also complains about it being very cold. All which becomes signs later on of the operator. So I think with that we can move on to season 2.
Did
Is
you
there
talk
anything
about the
else you
guy in the
want?
mask at all?
We briefly mentioned him, but he doesn't play a bigger role till season 2 or 3. I personally believe. But the
Yeah,
person behind, there's a
well,
character who has the mask, who I believe the community dubbed Hoodie. He wears a mask where you can. It's like a black mask, which is someone who's under the influence of the operator and is also behind to the arc, or is, we don't know if he is, but it's heavily suggested that they are behind to the arc. Um, and as the series goes on, we kind of like boil it down to who it is. But the thing about, or yeah, he's just kind of there fucking with Jay as he's trying to figure out where Alex is, like teasing him with information that ends up leading to Alex almost dying every time.
yeah, they refer to him as Masky, it looks like, and
Masky. So there's Masky and then there's Hoodie. Sorry, there's
yeah,
two.
and
The
he's
second one doesn't come till later.
yeah, and geez, too spooky for me, dude. Um, we first encounter him because Jay gets an anonymous tip that on Brian's location, and it's the house that we go to multiple times. And then
Yes.
he goes back a few days later, and that's when we first see the masked guy. and he like attacks Jay, and there's audio
Not just
distortion.
attacks. Not just attacks. He like crawls, runs at him.
Oh, it was
It's
weird
very.
because
It's very terrifying.
it's like he got up so quickly that he fell down, and then he gets back up. Like,
While making movement towards Jay.
yeah, like I don't know. Imagine you're sitting down on a couch and then you need to get somewhere as quickly as possible on like a moment's notice. Like it's crazy because he just stares at him
It's
for a few seconds.
crazy, unnatural, and scary.
Yeah. Um, but Ajay ends up the mask guy has like a seizure after attacking him, and then Jay like gets the camera and runs out of the house. And then he like as he's running out and starts coughing again, and then he wakes up the next day with no memory of the events that
What
happened.
happened? Yeah.
Yeah, but
So another
he's
thing
got
that
the tapes. So
the other thing the operator does is memory loss. Like either short spans of time, or as we're about to find out in season 2, giant spans of time.
right.
Um,
I think that's everything that I really wanted to talk about for season 1.
which is great because I just mentioned season 2, so that works out.
Yeah.
Season 2 begins 7 months later, and Jay doesn't remember a single GD thing that happened.
Right. And this
He's
actually
completely
works really well for the sake of the YouTube series because they went on a 7-month break, and then
Mhm.
like the stuff starts
Well,
then
because
things
they
start
wanted to
getting
make it
uploaded.
feel as real as possible.
Right, I
Like
know,
that
and
was the idea.
that's what's nice about it because immersion is very important for all movies, and this works really well because if you were keeping up with the series as it was coming out, which I wasn't, this was when I was like 12. These were
Yeah,
coming out in 2010, but
we would have shit our pants if we
that
saw
would have been
this.
amazing, right? Like you get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
YouTube notification, and it's like, oh, they're back. Oh, he's been
He's been
no
on the.
memory
He's
for the
been.
last 7 months. Oh my god.
What happened to him? Like it's. You basically just are along for the ride. And I should mention this is technically called an AR series, where when it came out, you were able to figure out clues and talk with other people. And To the Ark was a lot of spoiler stuff, like suggesting stuff's going to happen. Here's the clues of what's going to happen in the future. And so, as the series went on, obviously people figured out more and more. And because we were so behind on everything, a lot of the stuff from To the Ark doesn't make much sense to us. But still, being the To the Arks are very important to the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's just gone for 6 or for 7 months, and season 2 is literally all about him playing catch up with himself, with trying to figure out what's going on, what happens, and doing his best to not be murdered. He
Yeah.
meets someone by the name of, I believe,
Jessica.
Jessica. Yes, Jessica. Plays a minor role, but we see Jessica, and I'm on season 1. That's why I don't see Jessica's name. Still on season 1. I'm very bad at this thing.
It's all good. Season 2 starts at episode 45.
Yeah, there we go.
Or entry 27. So
Yeah.
yeah, the season 2 is interesting because like we said, he's been no memory for the last few months, and he's like
No
searching
memory, no contact, no Twitter notification, nothing.
right, and he's like, so he's looking around, he finds a video, and that's when we first see the tunnel with blood on the ground, and we also see the operator.
Yeah.
The tunnel will become more relevant as time goes on. It's like a little tunnel in the park.
In Rosswood Park.
Right. See, we meet Jessica again. There's some camera issues whenever she's around, and then that night we hear the strange noises coming from her room. But then when he confronts her, she's like, "Oh, I just woke up. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah. So say also the other thing that's important is that there's like it's audio distortion that happens, not like video distortion. Whenever a human character is acting weird, it's always audio distortion.
Yeah.
If someone gets angry or is confused or under the influence of the operator, they have that audio distortion.
Hmm.
It's a clue for us to be like, okay, we should be wary of this person.
It's kind of interesting too, because sometimes like these are all done from like I don't want to say a first person point of view, but there's like more than one camera that people are using. So sometimes you wonder like, oh, is this audio distortion because something's wrong, or because like we've seen this camera get dropped this episode, or like if they're
That
like
too, yeah.
fall over or like they're crawling, it's like, oh, maybe that's just the microphone picking up like their jacket being rubbed against the ground and that sounds weird, or maybe it's an actual
The other
audio
thing I was going to
distortion
say,
problem.
speaking of audio, The Visit. I'm going to bring this up because it's recently like the most recent memory, like um, found footage styled movie, and they add a shit ton of like audio to after the film after it's recorded. So like they'll add like the grandma screaming or like a bunch of like uh, mic tap warning, like post production garbage like that to
Right.
really try to emphasize the spook. But then during like the scenes where there's nothing spooky, none of that's happening. And it feels less real. It doesn't feel like you are actually there in the scene. It doesn't feel like that the camera that they show really can have that effect. The cameras they do show do look that way. Like they have a body camera, like a belly or a chest camera, chest mounted camera they wear. And the chest mounted camera, as time goes on, does get distorted and gets to a point where it can no longer work because it's been beaten and bruised so many times.
Right.
Yeah. They keep it to be as real as possible.
So anyway,
Um, yes.
uh yeah, you get there? Like
Yeah.
all
What
right.
am I making? Is there sound?
Yeah. Just making
Oh,
sure you're, because that's all
sorry.
good.
Sorry.
I appreciate all of that. Just making sure you're done. So
Yeah,
then
yeah. Sorry about that.
yeah, no worries. So then let's see. Jessica is like, she is like in asking Jay if he's like experiencing any memory loss or anything, and he's kind of trying to play it cool, I guess, and be like, "No, everything's normal over here." And
Yep.
yep, they have a couple conversations, and then finally one night she like knocks on his door because they're in two hotel rooms that are adjoined by like,
Adjoined. Yeah.
yeah, the set of two doors. Have you ever stayed in a hotel room like that? I have one.
I have never stayed in a hotel room like that. The only hotel rooms I really ever stayed in was like Marriott and stuff. When I went to SmashCon, and I would love if that room was that big, but unfortunately, it was me and Patrick in one like small room, and we just I had the bed and he had the couch, but that's about it.
Mm. I've had a room like that once. I don't remember where it was, but it's way younger, vacationing somewhere, probably North Carolina with Shannon. But yeah, it was like
Hmm.
our two rooms just connected by the set of two doors, and I was like, wow, that I haven't seen that before, and I hadn't seen it since until we watched this. So I was like, oh, those do exist, huh?
You weren't just
Interesting.
like hallucinating as a baby boy.
Right, I was like, surely these actually happen, but I hadn't seen
Yeah.
one in so long. So I was like, oh, okay. But
I don't
anyway,
know the practicality of them, but yeah, they exist.
oh, I guess it's nice if like you had the situation
Like
we
a
did where
couple.
there's like a family.
Yeah,
So it's
makes
like
sense.
there's probably like two beds in each room. So if it was, me, my mom, my grandma, and then Shannon and Aaron or whatever, it's like, okay, that's practical. But they bring up in here, they're like, I haven't seen anyone else in this hotel except you, and for some reason we're in conjoined rooms. So it's like, oh,
Weird.
that's a good point. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And the staff. They also say staff. That's another thing they saw.
Oh yeah, they do
For,
say stuff.
yeah. But still, yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
believe it's in episode 33 is when he starts going the run. Jay, there's a safe in Jay's room which he can't figure out the code to because, as you know, he's been zonked for 6 months or 7 months or however long it's been.
Mhm.
And Jessica confronts him, saying, "Hey, um, I or Jessica confronts him, and then they decide to meet later, and then uploads that case or uploads this case explaining that happened, and then he goes to her room. She's gone, and then the masked figure we talked about earlier starts to attack him. So he's on the run again. So the uploads are slower from here on out.
Right. But right before that happens, this actually kind of I didn't like this so much because like Jessica confronts him practically in tears, and she's like, you need to tell me what's going on because I don't remember anything that's happened in the last 7 months, and like I'm scared and I feel like someone's following me." And Jay's like, "Okay, um, I we'll talk about it. I'll meet in your room, but give me like a few minutes to finish whatever he's doing." And then she's like, "Okay," and he's like, "No, no, no, leave the door open," and she does. And then in the next entry, like his door is closed, but hers is still open. And the whole time I was like, "Why is your door closed? Why would you do that? Why not
Uh,
just leave them open?"
I was gonna say it could be the masked man who did that, but it is also a very good point.
I guess that's what I'd have to assume. It's just like I don't know. I guess maybe he could have like snuck in, closed the door really quietly so Jay didn't notice, and then did whatever he did. But yeah, it's
Very strange.
yeah, not a fan. But
Yeah.
anyway, so he goes into
Okay,
Jessica's.
James. One complaint. Okay, man. All
Yeah,
right.
dude, one complaint. Hey, I'm giving this the same treatment I would give anything else.
Good.
And
Good.
for what
Good.
it's
Good.
worth,
Good.
this holds up a lot better than a lot of the other like well-funded productions we've watched.
Absolutely agreed.
Mulan. Anyway,
Weird cough, James.
yeah, I know. Anyway, so he goes over to her room and she's missing. But he does find a combination to a safe, so he tries her safe and it doesn't work. But then he runs over to his room and tries his own safe, and that works. And then he gathers the contents. There's a ton of tapes and a hard drive. And then the masked figure appears and attacks him. And it doesn't say on this page if there was like a message or anything, but I guess he escapes or gets away from the he gets away from the masked figure, doesn't he?
Yes, he does with the tapes. Yeah,
Yeah. So
he successfully gets away.
mhm. uh
I believe, and then
looks like he's
so
running through
during,
tapes. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, he goes through all the tapes that were inside the. This is the point where it gets to the looking back in the past of what's happening, and this is where Jay plays a bigger, or not Jay, Tim plays a bigger part. Where you get to meet Tim more often and learn more about Tim as a character, because I think we met Tim briefly in season 1 for an interview, and then am I saying is it Tim? I want to say it's
I think you're right.
yeah, it's Tim. Yeah. Um, and in entry 38, Tim, I believe, takes Alex out to the woods um, to show him something. And wait, no, it's Alex. It's Alex. That's right. Um, Alex is there. It's not Tim. Sorry. You want to double check me on that entry 38? You want to double check me on that one? Make sure I don't make myself
Um,
look like an idiot. Yeah, Jay finds an unlabeled tape that has him and Alex walk through the woods. Well, Alex, yeah, yeah. Alex is leading him to the woods to probably murder him. Let's be honest. Um, and tells a story about how the trees that grow in Rosswood Park grow super fast, and how they would kill people by like the tree expanding enough to where it just like consumes the person. Um, which, by the way, is a red herring. That doesn't actually go anywhere. It doesn't mean anything, but it's like just a creepy story to put you on edge.
yeah,
Um,
does pretty well.
and I was also going to say, I think that's why Slenderman, the new movie, ended the way it did. If I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I was under the impression the tree grew so quickly that it like stretched them out while they were on the out because they would be tied up with like
Well, they were
ropes.
they were supposed to do that,
But
like
yeah,
I
then in
mean,
Slenderman, she just gets like consumed by a tree at the end.
yeah, she just becomes a fucking tree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, I'm just gonna say that they made a reference to the movie and not a very well done one, but still,
right.
or not movie. There is a movie to this, but we'll talk about that later. About that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
not good,
I'm just looking through. Yeah, we meet Tim a couple times in season one.
but not enough to where like he's important, obviously, but not enough to mention
Well,
him.
he's just like a
Uh,
character. And
well, he's an important character. Yeah.
in one of the To the Arc videos, we see a picture of him.
Uh,
And like you said, he shows up for filming the one day and he looks all sick.
and then I think we could talk about season 3 now. There's not really much to talk about season 2. Like I said, the main idea is catch up, and it's done very well. It's very scary. And entry 52 is where everything like comes to a head, where everything sets up for the finale, which is this season or season 3.
Yeah. We don't learn about Tim at all in season two, it looks like, but it's all I say it's all, that's a generalization, but it's it's pretty much just him going through the tapes, and they all are like him and Alex. God, is that when they break the dude's leg
Yes,
in season two? Him and Alex
this is
like
really
have been, I guess you could say, teamed up for a while. They're like exploring in the woods together. Um, we yeah, they encounter the masked man in a like old, like destroyed house.
yeah. It's just like a thing in the woods. Yeah,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, just
that
like a thing in the woods.
that's when we like first find out that they're working together, when they like break his
Yeah.
leg. uh
Uh, and then we see that the masked man now has a limp, which is really cool to see. But the other thing I was going to say was that we're going to say spoilers here because from here on out, this is the RB spoilers because I'm going to talk about To the Ark and who they are,
yeah, it sounds good to
and then
me.
obviously it's season 3. So, do you want to give our number now?
Sure. I This is hard to judge, I'd say.
I give it an entry 89 out of 9.
89 out of 9.
Yeah, entry 89.
Entry 89 out of 9.
Yeah.
It's cool with me. I will give it 3 bullet
So,
casings and 99 scribbled images.
oh, just random things of
Circles
he's
and
watching
X's,
and
baby.
stuff. Circle next is operator symbol.
That's right.
Um,
So let me
so
see.
yeah, so
We're
I was gonna explain who the To the Ark is.
okay. Do that.
Because I know you wanted to know who it was. To the Ark is not just one person; it is 2 or 3 people. It's
That's
heavily discussed if it's 2 or 3, but I lean more towards 3, but I'll stick with the 2 theory for now. And it is Brian, who we learn about briefly in season 2, and Tim, who is Masked Man. So, sorry, trying to keep it trying to piece it all together. To the Ark is leaving messages, as we said before, but it's not until this point in, I believe, Classified. No, Extraction. Yeah, that's right. Extraction is where we get a confirmation that Tim is the masked figure, um, and that he's the one who is mostly behind all of this. Except for, I believe he's the one who saves them in Entry 52. Correct?
who? Tim?
The Tim? I don't remember if it's Tim or if it's the hoodie.
Entry 52. Um Oh,
50.
it's Tim.
Yeah, 52. Yeah, is it Tim?
Yeah, it's the mask.
So Tim was just another was a just like a film one of the cameramen, and I don't exactly know if he's under. No, that's Mask. It's Tim. Yeah, never mind. I was sorry, I'm confused. To Brian's the one behind the camera. Yeah, Tim is
Yeah,
the one
and
who
Brian's
saves
got
them.
the like the black mask with the orange. facial features.
Yeah. Um, so he's the one who saves them
That's scary
in
too.
52. What's up?
I said he's scary too.
Yeah, it's very creepy how he moves.
Just everyone in like their masks.
Which I never quite figured out why he saves them, but he does save him or Jay and Jessica.
Right
And that's
at the end
that's
of
when they
season
end up
2.
deciding. Yeah, that's why they end up deciding to go to the hotel to camp or to hide out for the hideout to hide from everything. And it's not until he starts recording his location that he's actually discovered. Um,
Right. Um
and also at this point, Alex leads them into the woods, and this is when we discover we cannot trust Alex because Alex tries to kill them. That's why they had to run away in the first place. We probably should have mentioned that.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it's him and Jessica and Alex. And
he's basically trying to like clear up all loose ends and remove everyone from the situation.
definitely seems to be the case. We find out that the hooded figure and the masked man seem to be working together because they like not interact, but they're together at certain points and not
Yeah,
hostile to each other.
and they both, as I stated, both run to the arc together.
Right. And well, one thing I noticed, the To the Ark uploads stopped after Brian got killed.
Yeah, because he is technically well, he was him and Tim,
I'm under the
and
impression he is like the owner of the channel and the person doing uploads, but it would seem that the videos come from potentially more than one source because sometimes it's just him walking around with the camera and other times it's like the operator messing with it.
the other thing I was going to say was that the reason why people believe there's two or three is the fact that each time to the arc uploads, it's in a different style almost. There's like three unique styles of like how they have like some people use.
What's the third?
Let me pull up the actual videos. Pull up the videos, and I'm not going to
Well,
give them another watch, but
while you're pulling it up, so sometimes it's like really I guess abstract is the word I'd use. It's like
they're clues. Yeah.
yeah, there'll be like text appearing and like they'll just be like audio and visual distortions. And then other times it'll be from like a human's point of view walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And those are
Watching. Yeah.
the ones I'm pretty sure are Brian almost all the
Yeah.
time. We even see a few times like who's carrying the camera. It's the guy in the hoodie with like the mask, the black mask with the orange facial
Um,
features. But
so the three colors. Sorry, go ahead.
what's the third then? Because you said there's like three
Uh,
styles.
the third could just straight up be the operator. Like it's completely possible that it's just the operator.
I thought the
Um,
first was just the operator.
so it's Tim, Brian, and the operator. I believe are the three because
What videos do you think Tim recorded?
Tim recorded all of the ones with the. So later in beginning of season three. Season three has a lot of cameras and a lot of like VHS tape or the like surveillance has the TV screen. And conversion has the like messed up audio. Quadrant also had quadrant is no sorry I'm trying to go isolation, surveillance, and display are all Tim. Or not Tim, Jesus Christ, Cole. Um are all Brian, the hooded man, leaving clues and hits and stuff. Um anything to do with anything like that is him. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Are you watching through them right now and trying to see what I'm saying?
I'm looking at a couple of them.
Yeah, some of them are just like numbers and codes. Some of it's in black and white old footage, and then some of them are just like, yeah, like you said, people just watching people.
Well, display seems like normal almost,
Yeah.
like just camera footage. I'm watching Isolation right now. Also seems to just be like normal camera footage for the most part. There's some distortion. Nothing crazy though.
Yeah.
Oh, there is the edited eyeball like inside the plank of wood. Like,
Yes.
yeah. But the To the Ark videos near the beginning, especially, those were really.
But most importantly, even if you don't get the symbolism, they're creepy as hell.
Oh, you know what? This one called
Yep.
Warning. It's got the mask that Tim wears.
Yep. Which one? Looking
Yeah,
for.
they're all creepy. Just
Yeah.
because they're so like abstract.
Abstract and very loose, and you don't quite know what it means. Like if someone just stumbled upon To the Ark channel, they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of
And
sense.
it gets like really creepy once you start noticing because like sometimes they'll have, or like the best example I can think of is Jay like fell asleep in his car and
Yeah,
then like you can see from his camera which he left running, it looks like someone walks by the window, and then the next To the Ark video has that perspective, someone walking up to his car in the middle of the night and watching him while he's sleeping.
it's no once again no music cue, no nothing, just it's there.
Oh yeah.
But we're talking about To the Ark a little too much. We need to talk about the final season because we're going a little long, aren't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so let's talk about season 3. Season 3 will be pretty quick to go through. But season 3 is what I like to call the prank season, where it's just 3 dudes just pranking each other till they all die. I mean,
That doesn't seem to be untrue to me.
yeah. So Jay finally tracks down Tim, which we saw very few times, and decides to trick him into saying, "Hey, I need your help still with Marble Hornets because I'm still trying to help Alex out." By the way, I want to point out Jay, absolutely terrible liar. He is really bad at it, but he learned how to be better at it from season 2. He like kept telling Jessica different stories, but by the end, by this season, he's like basically learned how to just lie through his teeth. Um,
Yeah, he
and we know
gets pretty good at it. Um, what's really interesting about all this is like, I guess I was always on edge a little bit about Jay, especially because he keeps saying like, found this video, I'm in it, I have no recollection of these events happening, and so I was always like, how much can we trust this guy? But he's in like almost all the videos, so it's really hard not to. It's leaves you very much on edge because you're just never really sure that you're getting everything. And that's not what other
right
movies are like generally. Like we said a little bit earlier, it always seems like you are given like all the
all the
information,
information.
at
Yeah,
least all that your protagonist is going to have. But in this, it's
it's
like it ends, and you're still like, I wonder what I don't know.
I was gonna say there's a very good point for or a very good thing that this film does is or films don't normally do anymore is that they make the main character untrustworthy. Like the narrator is no longer truly trusts who they are or what they're going to say. Because everyone has so perfect nowadays and yada yada yada. Um, but in this movie, like you said, it's all about on being unable to trust our even our narrator.
Yeah. So let's see what's next. Um, there's a bit of
I mean,
drama. So Tim and Jay are working together, right? And Tim shows him the hospital, the old abandoned hospital, where like some shots have been, or some sets have been shot. Uh, at some point, Tim discovers the Marble Hornets channel and gets super
and
pissed about it.
the acting in this very well.
Yeah, that was probably like the peak of the acting.
There's another one that's really good, but it's because it's such a long done shot that I think it's good. Um, we'll get to that one later.
Sure.
Yeah, no, he's that scene. I think you said it best, James. Where it starts off with him not really doing very well, but like as it builds up, he gets more and more frustrated and more angry and more pissed off, and it's a normal human emotion. You don't start in going in and just automatically being pissed off. He kind of punched him to start, so it's pretty strong opener right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it like really it's like, oh, we're doing this. Like really
Yeah,
right in there. And
we start with him even saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you what's all going on." He goes like, "Oh, are you now?" And then like just lets him have. And the entire time he doesn't pick up the camera or anything. He literally just lets it all happen. Like he doesn't go for the camera. He doesn't listen. He doesn't like grab the camera to get a better angle. We don't get to see them completely. I think we just see their feet. I believe.
I
I
think
remember
so.
which.
If even
I
both of
think
them.
it's entry.
Oh, that's entry. I had it.
I think it's 57. I believe.
No,
No. Oh, 59. 59.
59.
Yeah, we see Tim's feet like
Right.
for brief periods of times where he really just lets him have it. I think he picks it up when he tries to leave. When he's leaving, he's like, "Get out of my life." Um, and after that, I believe we get to see. After a few more clips, we see that Jay is being stalked once more. So, very very creepy. But yeah, there's a lot of deception between our two main leads, and as time goes on, they slowly work back together until episode or entry number 80, where episode entry 80, where our main character, the one we've been with since the start, passes away and dies from Alex's own hands. He goes to find Alex, he confronts Alex, and Alex just shoots him and kills him. At this point, they're at a college campus, Benedict Hall, where Alex is being held, or Alex is holding out. And as time goes on, Tim takes over the channel, fights Alex, and by the end, all that's left is just him, as we believe in episode 6. We think that he is the only one that's left alive.
Yeah, it seems to be it.
And
Alex's
then
final
entry
words
87.
are, any others who come in contact with the operator are still alive, need to be killed, and then Tim needs to kill himself.
Yep. And then entry 87, we see Jessica's still alive, and we see that he's lying to Jessica, saying, "Oh yeah, no, Tim or Jay moved away, and that everything's fine." And then it's left very loosely. We don't know if he kills her or not. We don't actually.
I noticed that you could like hear sirens in the background after the scene with Jessica.
James, congratulations. You've noticed something that most people don't notice. And so, yes, you are correct. He does indeed kill her. People think, oh, he didn't. But yeah, no, he just straight up did.
Well, I guess that doesn't prove it definitively, but I guess it is worth assuming.
It is. It's obviously not worth assuming, but I do think it's very like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Especially with how everyone's been behaving. He says it's not going to end until everyone's dead.
Right.
I think Jay was saying that, and so was Alex. That's the whole thing. They were like, this only ends if everyone dies.
Yeah. It says on the wiki page, the operator's final attack may have been beaten by their medication.
Yeah, the one thing I forgot to mention, there's medication that Jay has taken over time, and because of it, he's become not immune, but he's become stronger against the operator's mental attacks on the cast.
You mean Tim?
Tim, sorry. Their names are so generic, I get them confused, and I really apologize, everybody.
No, it's fair enough. I've been trying to pay attention. I think that's the only time we really slipped without catching it immediately. I think there was something that stuck out to me that we saw today. At some point, Tim said, either he says or it says on text, like, I've been dealing with this forever or like my whole life. So,
That's when he went to the mental hospital.
yeah.
Yeah, that was another good scene. That's the one I was going to talk about where it's flawed shot, but it's still well acted.
Yeah. They have like their moment in the hospital. Yeah. Let me see. So that's everything. That's pretty basic overview. The third season has a lot
Hmm.
of content, I would say. Um, with that said, it didn't feel like I said, the plot was kind of lost on me at that point. I didn't like
There's
the
a
third
lot of
season
moving
as much.
parts,
Yeah,
and they also left a lot of things out. Like one of the things I mentioned early on during like the first few to the arc clips. I want to bring this up because I feel like this is important to talk about.
yeah, go for it.
Early on and for to the arc, like talking about like when this first started, there's a lot of references they've made to. I want to say Purity is the first one where there's a lot of rain. Um, no, Program. James, why don't you look in the bottom corner of Program, and Patrick, I'll send it to you, and you put it on screen. Do you see that S?
Program. Let me take a look.
I gotta hold on.
It's one of the 2D arcs, yeah. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course it is. And two of the videos in this playlist are privated. I'm not totally
Go to
sure.
the channel. Go to the channel to the arc. Well, there's a S symbol on Program. Uh,
Where is program? Like, what entries does that fall
uh,
between?
that falls in between the entries. I don't know, but like I said, just type into the arc, you'll find it. That has there's another one that has that I can't remember which one. But the point being, there's a sign of like an S, which is a sign for a symbol of some importance. I don't remember exactly what to, but they end up dropping the whole that whole idea later on, which is one of like the main problems with having such a long series that they have ideas and then they just kind of drop them or
I'm sorry, one more time.
systems.
Program? Oh, here it is. Okay.
Yeah, you see it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
see in the bottom corner there's that S.
Ah, yeah.
Let's see. Did it? I don't think anyone actually points up what it stands for, but hold on. No, that's just the numbers. That doesn't actually.
To the arc videos have comments available.
Yeah, no one actually brings it up, but I will say the whole thing is that you see there's that S in the corner, which I think is it's gonna sound stupid, like a side of Satan or some type, a snake sort of deal. Um, and they're gonna do more with that. I remember hearing like an interview with the actual direct or actual creators. But it ended up not going anywhere. And like I said, that was just trying to bring up one of the facts that like these videos or these long series, they will have things they kind of just drop off. And I could see where you come from for saying season three is not nearly as strong. I could agree with you to an extent. I think it's a good end, but I think the way to get to the end took a little while.
Yeah. I I need more time to think about it overall, I think, but my initial hot take reaction is that it is a bit overwhelming. Like there's a lot going on and I feel like a lot of it doesn't get paid off in any way. It also seems like a lot of it is filler and not like classic like filler, but there's a lot of walking around for extended amounts of time to
Hmm.
uncover pretty much nothing. Like,
I would agree. Yeah,
so for example, the first time we go to Brian's house in season one, there's a slight chance that I pick out the entry very quickly here. Boo-doo-doo. I think it's
we were too
16.
caught in the video that we
It's a
couldn't really.
7-minute video. We see dried blood in a sink, the bottle of pills, a bullet casing, and some of Alex's drawings, as well as like signs of struggle to get in. And we establish right away that Jay is now willing to essentially commit crimes to figure this out. Whereas in the later seasons, we have like 13 and 14-minute episodes that don't establish nearly as much nor pay things off as well.
Agreed. We learn with less video. We learn more about our character and how willing he is to go deeper and deeper into the belly of the situation. But by later season, I think entry 86 was worth the length, in my opinion. Like the final video, um, is very like worth waiting that long to see where it all went. But I will agree, a lot of the times it's just nothing. It's just like entry 69 is literally okay. We are on the run and we're moving, and that's 9 minutes.
Uh, Entry 64, they go back to the place where Alex attempted to kill Jay and Jessica. Then they go by the tunnel. They receive a phone call from Alex that says leave now, and then they're attacked by the operator. Oh, and then when Jay escapes, Tim doesn't, but then when Jay gets back to his car, he sees Tim is already there in Tim's own car.
Yeah, and then he drives away, and then
Yeah.
the next one we see is what
And
what Tim saw, which I will say, what the way that they showed that was very nice.
no, I liked it too, but that video is 11 minutes and 49 seconds, and then the next one with Tim's camera is 14 minutes and 11 seconds. So yeah,
As time goes on, the videos get longer and
I'm
longer,
a
and
I like things being long. Like if you're using the time to
establish things.
right, and yeah,
But it's
I
weird to
guess I'd
see
prefer
in the
you be
past.
efficient, but
Yeah,
this is we're going on 7 hours at this point. There's a lot.
I was also going to say entry 9 is a great example of like it being short and giving us a lot of information. Where we see, I believe. Hold on. No,
Entry
I did not
9.
lose my insurance. I did not lose my insurance. That's the one where they have the footage of them like terribly acting, and we learn how agitated Alex has gotten and how everyone's kind of fed up with each other except for what's it, Alex's girlfriend, who's trying to calm down the situation.
Yeah.
Um, trying to de-escalate the whole dealio.
Yep.
But because of that, we learn more information about the characters with less time. So I could agree that season 3 is a little on the rough side.
Yeah.
So
But also,
it's
like I
also still
said, we're
really well
like
done.
5
Yeah.
or 6 hours in at this point, and I'm like, okay, let's. I'm enjoying it,
Where is
but
this going?
we need to
Yeah.
wrap this up. I'm curious as to how they'll wrap this up well in the last few episodes, which I think they did decently. There's a few things that aren't still explained, but overall, like I said, I liked it a lot.
Agreed.
Oh, one thing I noticed,
Go for it
and
before we wrap this up.
I think this is just kind of the fault of the genre, but there is a lot of them going to locations practically just off of a whim and almost lucking into finding new information.
Yeah, like they just have like there's one where a guy walks or one of the people walks into an area. They leave it. They like check to see if a tape's there, and they're like, "Oh, cool, we have a few minutes. Let's go look at that." And then they find the tape, and they continue to follow him. That sort of deal. They
Yeah.
stumble. This definitely feels like they're stumbling rather than they're actually like figuring it all out.
Well,
But I
it's
also kind of do enjoy the way that that's being presented like that. In my opinion, that feels more like they're not in control because then we don't know what all is true, what all is fake. How do we not
right.
know that they actually knew that ahead of time? How do it adds to the uncertainty of the group?
I guess when you're watching it, it kind of feels like because they're in like 10-minute clips, sometimes a little more, sometimes less, but it's like, oh, went to this big abandoned hospital, spent 8 minutes there, and found like three clues. It's like, okay, that's pretty massive. And it's like, and he ran into one of the antagonists, like they happened to be there at that time. It's like, it's not that it couldn't happen, it's just that it's almost contrived, especially since it happens so often. Which, but like I said, I don't think I think the only way that you really fix that without like adding a ton of runtime is just being like, I went back 2 times and found nothing, but this time,
Yeah,
and then like play the clip. So it's like
yeah,
it just feels set up, which we know it is because it's obviously a made movie. But
right.
yeah, I don't. It's not something that like really breaks my immersion or anything. It's just something I noticed. I think while watching today, I was like, huh, they really, because whenever we watch an episode and like nothing happens, it feels like wasted time, and that doesn't feel good. So it makes sense, but little thing I noticed. Um,
I can, yeah. Not that it breaks immersion, but I would agree that maybe even just adding like we went here twice, nothing happened. But um, I can see, yeah. That I'm not saying the series is perfect, but I'm saying it is better than the Slenderman movie, which not a high bar, but
high bar, yeah,
it yeah, it is. It's better than what that sounds like. I promise.
yeah. No, I agree. Um, let me think.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean, we talked about the camera angles, talked about how the um, show or how it was shot or how it was shot, and the visuals themselves. We talked about the story. Anything else we should discuss or go over?
If a couple of things I didn't hit on for cameras that I kind of wanted to mention. Like I said before, there's like the audio disturbances or visual disturbances that help you not really see what's happening. In addition to that, you mentioned while we were watching, these cameras aren't like optimized for like when you watch a movie, like every shot is like perfect, essentially, like in focus and everything. Not the case here.
Like the
Like,
character is in focus or something. Yeah,
right, like things are going in and out of focus constantly. Like the camera's all shaky. They're at certain points they're running and it's like, oh, I don't know if like we're being chased and they're catching up or not, or like I don't know where we're going because everything
because
is
the way
just
the
a
camera is
blur.
shot is like down on the ground. We're seeing grass or whatever surface they run on because they're not going to be holding the camera in front of them when they're chasing down someone.
Right. And like, you see the lights flickering everywhere. So it's all very it all adds to that sense of you have an idea of what's going on, but you don't know for sure, and that really like puts you on edge. And then
Absolutely, absolutely.
on top of that, like all the effects that are done, I don't know a ton about. I assume like all of the like distortions and everything are all After Effects put in.
Absolutely, probably, yeah.
Yeah, they're all very good, like very convincing, I'd say.
It definitely feels like the video did corrupted, and if they did actually do that with the actual tapes, that's really impressive.
Right. I mean, I imagine
Yeah,
you could use like a magnet or something to try to like screw up the tapes at certain points in time, but like
but it's hard to time perfectly, and that would be a big risk.
right, and I'm sure that we see everything they want us to see and nothing more. So, yeah, very well done.
Absolutely.
And like I said,
So
it all looks very convincing. It's not like a strange like hard cut or anything. It's like as they approach an area, the disturbances like start and you like barely notice them, and then it gets worse as you get closer. And then like as soon as they turn the camera on the operator, it's like that's when it goes full blown,
that's
especially
when
if
it goes
he's
ape shit.
nearby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
it's
once
like
again, like we said, operator's terrifying.
yeah, absolutely. Like um I think he's definitely scarier when you can barely make him out, but I think the first time like the operator was kind of lost on me because the first time we see him, like I said, in middle of the night, and Alex is looking out his window and he's out there, and that's like terrifying. And then there's that one scene where they're doing interviews at somebody's house, and someone is like got their back against the window while they're talking, and you can see him behind, but just
Sorry.
barely. And oh, it's all good. And that one is like
Hello.
really scary. But you good? Okay, I'll keep going. And then I think the first time the operator was really lost on me was a group of them in the woods by the red tower, and the operator shows up, and there's like 4 or 5 of them there, and they approach him, and the camera cuts out, but it's like I wonder what happened there because they weren't like scared. They saw him and they approached him and they were like, "Hey, what are you doing? What's going on here?" And that we don't know how that scene concludes. So that takes away, I would say, from his scariness because people felt comfortable enough approaching him. And now we just have to kind of wonder what happened because you think if he had just like vanished, we'd have heard about it. But none of the other characters seem to acknowledge it. I guess maybe he like hit him with the memory wipe and
Which
vanished.
is most likely something he's seen him do. So yeah,
Yeah, that's like my best guess, but
the only thing we really see him be able to really do for damage wise, as Brian or not Brian, Tim puts it, is that just memory loss, like giant headaches.
yeah, headaches, memory loss, people cough when they're around him.
Not like just like normal cough. Like this is like extensive, painful sounding coughs.
Oh well, it starts easy and then it gets more and more uh like rough as they get closer or as he
Sometimes they even
desires, I
just
guess.
yeah, and
Oh,
sometimes they
well,
just even like just barf or like cough out blood. Like it gets to that point sometimes.
yeah, they'll like, start with a few coughs and then like they'll see him and they'll try to start running away and they're coughing more and more and then eventually they have to like stop so they can try to catch their breath and they'll collapse on the ground.
It's a very unsettling. It's very creepy.
Hmm.
So
And the actors do very well at portraying that they're actually
yeah,
coughing, like
not only just their
violently.
coughing, all of their emotions. I mean, we touched on that in season 1, but even through season 3, a lot like they clearly are not happy with each other, and it's very well shown within like the actors, the characters, not the actors. The characters themselves are very much like we are just stuck with each other.
Hmm.
It's super well done. I'm telling you, even if you just listen to us ramble on about it, please, for the love of God, go watch it. It is worth the watch through.
Maybe watch it with a friend though.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, and the other thing I was going to say, watch it so you can know what an actually good horror movie series can do. Like a lot of the times when they do a found footage, they don't put this much effort into it. They just go, "Oh, we'll just make it look found footage." They don't understand the how different of a design that type of footage or type of film is. You know,
Hmm. And it really takes advantage of the found footage because, like we said before, we're not always confident that we know everything we should. And then, like, even as late as season 3, they're pulling out,
we
they find new videos and they're like, oh, we didn't know about
this is
these. Let's watch
this is
them.
back from season. Yeah, this is back from like before even season 1. I
Right.
believe there's one where we see Alex giving the tapes, and we see that Alex hid tapes from everybody.
Have you played Outlast?
Yes, I have.
Okay. That game attempts to do like a found footage thing almost because you carry around a camera that you're supposed to be recording with,
Yeah,
but it's not paid off in any way at the end. Like
no, it's just
it
you're.
almost feels useless. Like they could have just given you a flashlight with limited battery and it would have had the same effect.
I would, yeah. I think for the um, I think fuck. Sorry, someone sent me a meme and I'm fucking laughing at it. Sorry.
No worries.
um, I think for whistleblower that had more of a reason, but even then I could but for the first one and the third one, yeah, I agree. There was no really need for the found footage style. It was just there to be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this takes
Yeah.
advantage of that mechanic very well. And whereas I feel
Agreed.
something like that doesn't. I haven't actually seen Blair Witch Project.
Um
I know that it is,
it's
the found footage movie, but
it's okay. You want to watch it next time?
oh, maybe.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll have to see what we watch next time, gentlemen. So,
Yeah. But
I think
I
that's about it. Yeah.
I can't think of anything else I want to mention or reference.
No.
Uh,
No, I
Yeah,
think we're good. Yeah. I
I'm looking through. I
overall
think I hit all the
definitely give it a
characters
watch
about
with a
as much
friend.
as I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica's kind of just there. She's like reason for Jay to keep going, and for Jay to keep going near like season 2 and 3. But besides that, yeah, every other characters we went over pretty well. So I think that's about it. So next time, we'll talk about one more spooky movie for this month, and then we will move on to the month of Thanksgiving and figure out something from there.
There we go.
All right.
Pocahontas.
The Trail of Tears.
Yay.
Yay.
All right,
So,
friends.
bye.
It's been a pleasure as always. Have a good day.
Yeah, goodbye. See you next time.